opening prayer, pledges of allegiance to the flag of the United States and of Texas by Councilmember Schertz. So please stand, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, I pray and I thank you for the opportunity to gather here as a community and to fight for a better church for tomorrow. And I thank you for the blessings that you've given us and the gifts that you've given us. I thank you that we're living in a time with so many blessings, and I ask that you would put in our hearts to extend those blessings and to share those blessings with our neighbor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Are there any students participating in the Hal Baldwin Scholarship? If you are, please stand. Thank you. Presentation of the 2018 Achievement of Library Excellence Award.
All right, let's see if I can make technology work tonight. I hope so. First, I do want to beg your indulgence. I think oak pollen has tried to kill me in the last week. So if I start to cough, I've already told Lizzie she's going to have to jump up here and jump in, which ought to be kind of interesting because I haven't shown her any of this yet. But anyway, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm here to tell you something exciting that's happened to the library. We recently won an award. Okay, where'd it go? Where'd it go, Brenda? There we go. Thank you. Okay, so last December, for the first time ever, the library submitted an application packet to the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association for their Achievement and Excellence in Libraries Award. This award is given by TMLDA to public libraries that can show excellence in 10 key service areas. In late February, we happily received news that Schertz Public Library had been selected for a 2018 award, one of only 51 libraries in the state. There are 548 public libraries altogether. The application process looks specifically at these 10 key areas of library service that libraries should be striving to provide for their communities. I'd love to tell you about all 10, but in the interest of time, I think I'm only going to highlight some of what we submitted on our application packet. The first area that I thought might be important to let everybody know about is services to underserved populations in the community. Our programs are appropriate for everyone in the community, but we do have programs that are intended to reach specific audiences. We, of course, have a large population of veterans, so we partnered with local realtors to do a well-attended program on VA loan benefits. We also started English as a second language classes for the first time beginning in 2018 after having a number of requests for that type of program. Story and Swim is a program the library does in partnership with the YMCA. Story and Swim is special because it gives everyone in the community the opportunity to experience the Schertz Natatorium, not just the YMCA members. Another group that we assist often is the senior citizens. Through our partnership with WellMed, we were able to provide quarterly doc talks and free wellness screenings at the library. Another area that's looked at by the award committee is whether a library has enhanced or added new services in the year. We periodically conduct customer feedback surveys, and one service we implemented in 2018 was based on this survey feedback. That was an auto-renewal system. So any item that's on your account can be renewed automatically up to 2 times. Customer service or customer feedback so far has been very positive. Customers consider it a great convenience, and it's also helped many of them to minimize their overdue fines, much to the finance department's chagrin. So, another new service we offered in 2018 was the Extreme Book Nerd Reading Challenge. It's a year-round program for adults and children, and its purpose is to encourage people to read things that they probably wouldn't normally pick up. It's been pretty successful. We had close to 100 people complete the inaugural program. Programming is another area that's looked at. We offer many programs in the community each year, including tech help courses, story times, book clubs, genealogy meetings, holiday programs, science and art programs, cooking programs, craft programs, self-improvement programs, and pretty much anything else you can think of. In 2018, we provided 528 programs total with an attendance of close to 17,000 people. The award committee looks at a library's collaborative efforts with community groups. This has actually been an area of focus for the library for the last couple of years. We work closely with the Schertz YMCA and Senior Center. We work with local assisted living centers. We work with SCUCISD, preschools, daycares, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and many other groups. The format of our Winter Reading Club challenges patrons of all ages to read around town. So for that program, we partner with local businesses in our service area. They participate as stops on our reading roadmap. Volunteering is another important way of reaching into a community. We have about 45 active adult volunteers and 35 teen volunteers that assist with programming, shelving, working the bookstore, and much more. We work closely with the Schertz Library Foundation, and together we've created a successful annual mini-golf fundraiser. The money that's raised in that event is used to complete improvement projects at the library each year. April Toman is our youth services librarian, and she works closely with SCUCISD. Last summer, she was invited to present at the district's SCUC University, which is an in-service for their teachers. She gave multiple presentations over 2 days about how schools and public libraries can join forces to help kids succeed. We also have 2 rotating print collections that are housed in external locations, which we swap out quarterly. The first one is at the Schertz Senior Center. Lizzie Bertoa, our adult services librarian, maintains a collection of current large print books at the center. She's also placed a collection of picture books at Forest Ridge Assisted Living Center. The books there are used for memory discussions with their memory care patients. Workforce development is also another important area. We typically hold a career-focused program such as resume building once per quarter. We also have a number of e-resources available for career and employment help. We offer meeting spaces to all nonprofit organizations and have a partnership with SCORE. SCORE is the nonprofit arm of the Small Business Administration. They provide mentoring to business owners, and they help anyone who is interested in starting up a new business. The last item I want to mention is digital inclusion. That's sort of a fancy term for making sure that everyone in the community has access to and the use of information and communication technologies. Being online has become such a way of life that we sometimes forget that not everyone has access. The library has free wireless internet access. It's available 24/7. We have 46 computers with internet access and 4 computers in the children's area that provide educational games and activities. We have weekly computer classes on Wednesday and Thursday afternoons. These are in the format of one-on-one sessions where you can walk in and you can get troubleshooting advice on software and all manner of devices. Staff actually had somebody walk in one day with a desktop computer and their printer and could not get them to work, and they plopped them down on the desk, and by the time he left, he could work the whole thing. So Natalie Schultz is our virtual services librarian, and she also holds a bi-weekly walk-in Wednesday tech help program in the evenings for those folks who can't make classes in the afternoon. The librarians also provide one-on-one tech help at the Senior Center. All library staff provide help each and every day to customers who access the internet to apply for jobs, complete schoolwork, take tests, renew their driver's licenses, apply for government benefits, and carry out all the necessary life chores that are now found online. I want to take a moment to thank the staff. Their creativity, their hard work, and their dedication is what actually makes our library one of excellence. I also want to give a special shout out to the librarians, April, Lizzie, and Natalie. They are tasked with creating much of what this award honors, and I think they deserve a special shout out for that. So, if anyone has questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And then I actually have a plaque and a letter. If Mayor Pro Tem, if you wouldn't mind coming down and reading it, that'd be great. But questions, anyone?
So you're in the top 9% of all the libraries across the state of Texas.
Woohoo! Yes, we are.
Congratulations, guys.
I just want to say it's a great honor, Melissa, and I want to thank you for your great work and the work of your staff and all your librarians. Thank you all. It's just a super honor, and we're all just as pleased as we can be with the great work that you do over there every day.
I brought a lot of my posse with me, so I'd like them to come up. Library staff. We have a lot of library board members here, too. Come on up, staff. Who's all here? There you go.
First off, I just want to say congratulations on all your hard work and your achievement of being one of the top libraries in the state of Texas. It's an awesome accomplishment. Good job for you guys. Now we will have a presentation, a proclamation of National Library Week. National Library Week, April 7th through the 13th, 2019. Whereas today's librarians are not just about books, but are about building strong communities through transformative services, programs, and expertise. Whereas libraries are of all types are at the heart of the communities and schools and have long served trusted and treasured institutions where people of all backgrounds can come together and connect. Whereas libraries are a resource for all members of the community regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, and offer services, educational resources that transform lives and strengthen communities. Whereas libraries, which promote the free exchange of information and ideas for all cornerstones of democracy and promote civic engagement by keeping people informed and aware of the community events and issues. Whereas librarians and library workers partner with civic organizations to make sure their community's needs are being met. Whereas libraries and librarians empower their communities to make informed decisions by providing free access to information. And whereas libraries, librarians, library workers all support all across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now therefore, Mayor of City of Schertz encourages all residents of Schertz to observe April 7th through the 13th, 2019 as National Library Week. Visit the Schertz Library this week and explore what's available for you at your library. Strong libraries equal strong communities. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. A proclamation recognizing National Telecommunications Week. National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 14th through the 20th, 2019. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, and emergency medical services, and whereas an emergency occurs, that prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of the property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from the citizens who telephone the Schertz Public Safety Communications Center, and whereas the public safety telecommunications are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunications are the single vital link for police officers, firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them and assuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Schertz Public Safety Communications Center have contributed greatly to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in this past year. Now, therefore, the Mayor of the City of Schertz call upon all citizens of Schertz to recognize the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2019 to be the National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, Communicators Week in Schertz, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city safe, citizens and city safe.
Thank you and good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Hayward and council members. My name is Kimberly Harris. These are a few of your City of Schertz dispatchers. We just wanted to say that the red line represents the fire services, the blue line represents law enforcement, and in between those two lines is the gold line, and it represents telecommunicators. We are the voices heard during the chaos but seldom seen. And from the beginning of this year, 911 communications officers have fielded 5,993 inbound telephone calls, and that's just 911 calls. And that's for police, fire, and EMS and animal control services. And on behalf of the telecommunicators of the City of Schertz Police Department, I would like to say thank you for the recognition of the important work that we do and the intricate part of public safety that we are to hold the red and blue together. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you for all you do and doing a good job. Thank you. Announcements of upcoming city events. Ms. Sarah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On Thursday, April 11th, is the Northeast Partnership Meeting at 11:30 a.m., and that is at the Olympia Hills Golf Course and Conference Center in Universal City. That afternoon, we are also going to be having our annual Community Volunteer Fair from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., and that will be over at the Civic Center. And if you have any questions on that, you can contact our City Secretary's office at 619-1030. On Saturday, April 13th, we'll be having a nature discovery series, Discover What's Buzzing, 10 a.m. to noon in Crescent Bend Nature Park. On Tuesday, April 16th, we will have our Council on the Go at 6 p.m., and it will be at Scenic Hills Community Center, which is at 4820 Scenic Drive. On Monday, April 22nd, will be the Bicycle Rodeo from 5:30 to 7 p.m., and that will be at Sipple Elementary School, which is at 420 Fairlawn Avenue. And that is a citywide initiative to teach kids the skills and precautions to ride a bicycle safely. You can RSVP to Cecilia Palomo in our engineering department at 619-1824. And then finally, on Tuesday, April 23rd, we'll be back here in the chambers for a regularly scheduled city council meeting at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Brown, do you have any recognitions?
I have one recognition this evening, and this is to our communications department. And Alyssa Jimenez and Sarah Morin, and they were recognized by our police department for great work that they did on a call on a Friday night, early Saturday morning shift. And it was a welfare concern call for a subject that the police were concerned about and they were looking for. And we just want to recognize them. The police department recognized them for their great diligence in trying to locate this individual. They kept at it for over an hour, and eventually, because of their hard work and determination, the police were able to locate this person, and they probably saved a life at that time. So the police said their diligence may have saved this person's life, and at a minimum allowed others to locate her and get her the help she needed. And the police were very impressed. Not bad for a young, unsupervised crew. So we just wanted to recognize them and thank them for their great service, as our entire communications department does every day. Thank you.
Now it's time to hear the residents, and we have Mark Roberts. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good evening. Mark Roberts, 4300 Spanish Oak, Schertz, Texas. I have a little thing I'm going to bring up here. Well, I'm well aware that you have charged planning and zoning to look at our UDC requirements, the landscape requirements, and some building materials. And thank you for doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing the results. And I really come before you tonight because I know everything has to start with council, because council's got a direct staff, and so it all goes downhill from there. But as a retail business and a small retail business, our visibility, our building visibility, and our signage is probably the best advertising that we can do. It is the most cost-effective that we have. And a great example is our facility on 3009, where we were located before on Borgfeld Road, really just 50 yards off the intersection. By moving, we literally moved probably 100 yards around to the corner on 3009. It impacted our business. We probably seen about a 40% sales growth without any type of additional advertising, and a lot of it just has to do with visibility. So that's why the signage and the landscaping and stuff becomes very important. So today, I know we've talked about landscaping stuff, but I just want to bring up something so you have firsthand to see what something looks like. And this is a photo of the landscaping and looking of the proposed landscaping for a new facility I'm building. It doesn't matter if it's my facility or somebody else's facility, is that when I look at this, this is 1103 down this side. This is a property that is up by 35, about a quarter of a mile from the Walgreens. I am not opposed to trees. Understand that. Here's what I struggle with is that the landscape requirement calls for us to put a tree every 50 feet down our side lots and down our back lots. While that's okay, in the end, what I see happening here is I put those trees up. Now the person comes into the property next to me. He has to put those same amount of trees up. So I think we have to have something that we can look at and say, hey, you know what? Let's put up, you put up half the trees. Let's increase the space into 100 feet. And then so when the next guy comes in to develop next to you, he can do the infill. Because I think what happens, then we start overcrowding the trees, and I don't think that's good either. So that's just one example of something that we have to look at. And I say this, I know it's not an easy task. I know that is something that is difficult. It's not as easy as saying, okay, well, let's just increase the spacing. Obviously, there's other variables. The other issues that I see, and this is a good one, and this isn't, and by no means, I'm not trying to dump on our staff, because I think planning staff does a very good job. I just believe they're understaffed and they've got their hands tied. And so here's an example of, this is kind of a weird plat because, and this was at, this is actually two different properties. This property, one property here is actually almost like a flag lot, but to meet the UDC requirements, it has to have 100 by 100 frontage. So we created this 100 by 100 frontage with a side road that goes to this property in the back because we don't want to address a bunch of the issues in this back property. I'm having to buy all the property to get what I need. And so this detention is kind of a shared detention pond, detention area that's across both properties, and so we have to have all these maintenance agreements and stuff with it. But here's just something that's very simple that staff doesn't have the ability to address other than say, hey, that doesn't meet the code, you need to fix it. These shrubs right here. Okay, the property line is actually this line right here. So this is a separate property. But I'm having to build all this anyway. So the UDC requirement is that you have to have headlamp screening to an adjacent property. Okay? So based upon that, we have to have headlamp screening down both sides of the property. And I get some of that. Okay? Although we don't have anybody operating there at night, maybe a tow truck every once in a while, but I get that because maybe I'm not the person that's there all from here on out. So I get that. But something like this, where I'm instructed that, hey, that's not going to work, you need to move those shrubs to the other side of the fence on your property. I said, well, don't those shrubs meet the intent of the code? Isn't the intent of the code to screen headlamps from an adjacent property? And now this is kind of an odd deal, but I think what happens is planning has got their hands tied, and the first thing they tell you is, no, you can't do that. Which then creates another set of problems, because then you take that back to the engineer and the architect. Well, why we can't move those. The shrubs don't grow in concrete, and that's a concrete sidewalk on the other side to meet the ADA requirements. And so I think those are just some of the struggles that, you know, maybe a big company doesn't have, but a smaller development, you know, I would say I'm a developer just because I've built stuff in the city that we struggle with. And so those are the things I think we have to address. Another issue, we've got trees in the front in the landscape buffer. We're going to have to move our landscape buffer because they want to put there's a sewer easement there, so they're asking us to move those. My issue with that is that I don't have any problem using it, but what's happening is we're having to use this area up here for a septic drain field until the city can bring us sewer. So we're having to do a drip system there because that's the only thing that we can get that's going to meet the capacity requirements. So something like this, and there's power lines there, so that's not necessarily good development. So my thought is that why in a situation like this can't we say, hey, well, why don't you escrow the money for that? Or we have an agreement that says, okay, once we get our sewer line in and you're able to abandon that septic system, then you plant those trees at that time. And I think it's those small things like that that they're going to have to address and be able to have the leeway or the ability to have some flexibility to be able to address stuff like that, and although it doesn't meet the code. So that's really all I have, and I just want to put it out there so you guys see firsthand, some of the stuff that we're dealing with. So I'm done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Consent agenda items. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 2nd, 2019. Item number 2, Resolution 19R41, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz authorizing a contract with UBEO Business Services to provide managed print equipment and services. Item number 3, Resolution number 19R42, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz authorizing a contract with D. Guerrera Construction, LLC, relating to the construction of the FM 1103 TxDOT utility adjustment projects. Item number 4, Resolution 19R47, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, supporting the United States Census Bureau by creating a Census 2020 Complete Count Committee. Are there any agenda items that need to be removed for discussion?
Madam Pro Tem, make a motion that we approve consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Cedric Edwards and a second by Ralph Gutierrez. Call for a vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All items passed. Discussion items, ordinance 19RS14, an ordinance by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, to approve specific use permit to allow for operations of a convenience store with gas pumps at the southeast corner of FM 3009 at Ribs Chrysler, City of Schertz, Guadalupe, Texas, County, Texas. First reading.
All right, good evening. As Mayor Pro Tem Hayward stated, this is a specific use permit to allow a convenience store with gas pumps at the southeast corner of FM 3009 and Ribs Chrysler. So just to begin, for your reference, this is the property here outlined in green. This road up here is I-35, and this is FM 3009. In preparation for this hearing, 8 public hearing notices were mailed out to the surrounding property owners, and a public hearing notice sign was published on the property as well. So far, staff has received 2 responses, 1 in favor and 1 neutral to the request. Here's the current zoning map of the area. The location of the property is with the gold star. As you can see, it's zoned general business. So what I think is the first key point to look at with this SUP is the effect it could potentially have on the surrounding properties. So the subject property, again, is with the gold star here. The one immediately adjacent property is over a 100-acre tract of undeveloped land that is zoned general business. The property is also currently adjacent to 2 right-of-ways, Ribs Chrysler and FM 3009. Even the properties on the opposite sides of these 2 right-of-ways, currently occupied by Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union and First United Bank, are also zoned general business. This means that the subject property is surrounded by land that is zoned and accommodated for general business and is used for either commercial businesses or is undeveloped, like over here. Therefore, the approval of the SUP would have no additional adverse effect on the surrounding properties. The next item I think is important to consider is the specific use permit's conformance with the comprehensive plan. According to the comp plan shown here through the future land use map, the property is designated as both commercial campus and single-family residential. The proposed convenience store with gas pumps is compatible with the retail commercial uses that the comp plan designates as appropriate within commercial campus, and therefore it is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. Moving on to the site plan, you can see here they're proposing an approximately 5,000 square foot convenience store. The canopy down here with 8 gas pumps under it. The site plan shows 3 proposed access points, a 2-way entrance and exit here on FM 3009, a 2-way entrance and exit on the proposed extension of Baptist Health Drive up here, and a 1-way entrance only on Ribs Chrysler Road. They're also proposing to add 43 parking spots, well over the 20 required from the UDC, and a 25-foot fire lane to be extended all the way around the convenience store. Now, the access point on FM 3009 was a point of discussion at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in March with some concerns about traffic flow. Specifically, the intersection at 35 and 3009 is already one of the busiest intersections in Schertz, as you well know. But as the area continues to develop out, increased traffic is something that we should naturally expect to happen as the businesses come in. To address the potential increase in traffic during the site design phase, this specific access point was widened to 40 feet, was placed at a reasonable distance from the intersection with 35, and was limited to specifically a right-in, right-out only in order to provide a safe driveway for travelers on 3009. All of these access points, including the one on 3009, along with a comprehensive traffic impact analysis, were reviewed and approved by the City of Schertz Engineering Department and the Texas Department of Transportation. If you have any specific questions, we do have a representative for our engineering department here today. Here are the proposed elevations for the convenience store. So UDC requires all non-residential buildings to comply with the exterior building material, glazing, and architectural feature requirements. So as you can see in this table up here, the proposed convenience store will be constructed with a combination of stone and brick for at least 84% on each facade. Convenience store will also have at least 30% glass doors and windows in each facade, and it also complies with the minimum required horizontal and vertical articulations. The gas canopy also meets these architectural design standards through the only way that it is 100% planned to be brick. Regarding the landscaping on site, the applicant is proposing to landscape 24% of the total land area and plant a total of 39 trees, well satisfying their base landscape installation requirements. The applicant will be saving one of the two existing heritage trees, this one here, a 39-inch live oak, to be relocated to the landscapes area on site, satisfying the requirement to preserve at least 25% of all mitigatable heritage class trees. They're also proposing to plant the 15 trees along FM 3009 to satisfy our landscaping requirements along principal arterials and comply with all other landscaping requirements. So overall, the site plan meets all the requirements outlined in the Schertz Unified Development Code and the comprehensive plan. And the Planning and Zoning Commission made a recommendation of approval by a 5-2 vote at their meeting on March 13th. And therefore, staff recommends approval of the specific use permit to allow a convenience store with gas pumps, conditioned upon the following. A building permit is approved within 1 year of the adoption of the SUP ordinance, and the use begins operation within 2 years of the issuance of the necessary building permits. The applicant is here to give a short presentation and also to help answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Calling open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this? Any takers? Public hearing closed. Any questions or concerns from council? Mr. Edwards.
Can you go back to the slide where you showed the diagram with the right in, right out?
Yeah, of course.
And this is a question that staff may want to just kind of jump in on. Okay, so we have a right in, right out off 3009, smart move. Are we going to be extending? Do you know if TxDOT has any plan to extend the medium divider down any further? Does anybody know that?
John Nowak is coming up from our engineering.
Okay. And John, I'm just going to throw another one out while I'm asking that question. On Rips Crutler, when you have that driveway coming in off Rips Crutler as well, here's what I see happening. Just something that could be, you might want to think about. People are going to try to leave that parking lot and go over to Randolph Brooks. They're going to try to leave that parking lot and go left to 3009. You'll have people turning right from 3009 going to Randolph Brooks. And I drive there, a lot, okay? Everyone does. I think we have to either consider, that's one of our streets, so we have to consider putting a divider there so people can't either not be able to turn into Randolph Brooks. How are you going to stop that congestion? It's already congested on the left-hand turn lane now coming from Randolph Brooks to 3009. Those are the two concerns that I have about this project.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. To the best of my knowledge, TxDOT does not have any plans to extend or alter medians on 3009 at this time. The approach or the access point on 3009 was discussed at length with TxDOT. It was kind of a joint review between city staff and TxDOT. And by having that not as a full access point, but only a right in, right out, that is something that could be accommodated at that location. The access point on Rips Chrysler, it may be hard to visualize looking at it on the diagram, but it is a narrow access point that is angled and curved, so you can really only make a right-hand turn for eastbound traffic on Rips Chrysler to get in. If you try to go out, you're not going to be able to make a right-hand turn to get out onto Rips Chrysler. If you're coming westbound on Rips Chrysler and trying to turn left, you almost have to make a U-turn to be able to start going east to get into it. That's the intent of that. That was that's why it's really only a right-in only access point. The only full access point to the site is the access point that would be on the extension of Baptist Health Drive, where you could have free movers coming in.
So, John, just for the sake of argument, can you show on here, if you go underneath the P on plan, so you're saying that this driveway right here, it's going to be, it's going to be angled out.
This one? No, this one is the one that's angled on.
Oh, angled. Okay. So I'm flipping around. Okay,
This is
so
Rips
it's going to be angled
Chrysler.
out.
This is the Baptist Health Drive extension.
Okay, so it's going to be angled out, so they can only go one way.
So they can only come in this direction and turn and come in this way.
Okay, that's good. Okay, and do we have any plans for on Rips Chrysler for that to have a divider there at all for that turn lane?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, just something to think about for the future. I think we're going to eventually have problems there. So just for traffic flow.
As development continues to occur in the area and things change, it's something that we always kind of keep an eye on. And if additional things are needed as we continue to grow, then yes, that's something we'll consider.
Thank you, Mr. James.
I was going to say, Councilman, I think it's a valid point and something we had talked about. Where we've seen problems with people going out right in only, I think we have a couple things at play. One is that drive is too wide. This is narrowed down to only 15 feet back to curb, so it helps you. And then if you look how curved that is, it's readily apparent. We also have a problem where it's more of a straight, and they get confused. And so I think a lot of that was done by design to overcome the thing you talked about. So not saying nobody will ever do it, but you're right. If we have a problem, then we're going to have to come back and revisit it with the owner, saying, hey, we got a problem with this.
I remember when we did HEB and all those things up there, we had to come back and get that fixed.
We tried to learn from that.
Okay, and also, are we preparing for parking lot connectivity in case there's another business that goes in? I see an apron here. Are we going to have parking lot connectivity? Yeah, to the next parking lot.
Cross access, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Dr. Scagliella?
Yeah, I imagine the traffic impact study's been done. One of the things that concerns me, though, is I want to make sure we have the right-of-way along Rips Chrysler. Because eventually, hopefully someday, hoping to connect Rips Chrysler to Old Biederstein, running in back of Santikos. And I just want to make sure we do have sufficient right-of-way, because that's going to increase the flow of traffic.
Actually, right now in this first section here, there's more right-of-way width there currently than what's required in our master thoroughfare plan.
Very well. Thank you.
Mr. Gutierrez?
Okay, seeing that I have slide number 7, you indicated it's a 40-foot entryway. What's the standard? Since this one's 40, what was it was widened from 25 feet to 40, or?
Our typical maximum commercial width is 30 feet, with a caveat that staff can approve a waiver up to 40 feet typically. On a case-by-case basis. The main reason why the additional width is needed is so their fuel delivery trucks have the ability to get in off of 3009 without having to swing out and take up other lanes in order to get in. That's actually one of the requirements that TxDOT wanted to see on that particular access.
Okay. If you drop down to slide number 4. Yes. Okay, is that Cibolo outlined by the dotted red? Okay, so that's Cibolo's city limits then. Okay. All right. Now, the specific use permit, that's being provided so it does not disrupt the zoning scheme, and this doesn't disrupt it at all, from what I gather.
No, sir. So the specific use permit is required for any convenience store with gas pumps that's being proposed.
So just
Regardless
to be
of zoning.
clear then, just to be clear, if there were no gas containers being put in there, the SUP would not be required,
If it was just a convenience store without gas pumps, there would be no SUP required.
okay? All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Just one quick question on the extension of the Baptist Health Drive there. Is that going to be completed at the same time that the rest of the facility is going to open so that back access is there? Yeah, it's a well-designed plan, I get it, but I just wanted-
Yes, sir. Pretty much all the public improvements are kind of outlined on this particular
Right.
slide. The Baptist Health Drive extension, that's a requirement of the development, will be built in conjunction with the site being.
Okay. Good enough. Thanks.
Any other council?
Madam Pro Tem,
Yes.
if the applicant is here, if we want to see their presentation,
Support.
I'm sorry, guys. They wanted a short meeting tonight, and I prolonged this meeting. I'm so sorry.
I will. I'll try and be brief. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thank you for your time this evening. My name is J.D. Dudley, and I'm a real estate project manager for Quick Trip. I did want to say thank you, a special thank you to Mr. Copley and Mr. Nowak. We wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for them. We were submitting through the process. There were numerous comments we had to address, and in some instances, they turned around comments same day. We're running out of time contractually, and if it wasn't for their help, we wouldn't be here today. So I did want to say thank you. So really tonight, what I wanted to talk about is just educate you on Quick Trip and what we are, if you're not familiar with what QT is. We have a saying where we're more than a gas station. We win on people, we win on customer service, and the offer that we have here today, you have, I believe, 6 or 7 gas stations in the city. There's no one like us. What we're bringing to the table, just from a product line standpoint, customer service standpoint, that really, we were the #1 C-store in C-store magazine last year, and we're #1 in every state that we operate in. We're in 11 different areas, but I'll go ahead and get started. We just opened our 800th store. We've been around 60 years. And we've opened more than that, but we've closed a lot. We're constantly remodeling, relocating, and so we've opened more than 1,000, but we've closed a lot to relocate stores to better locations, and just maybe we didn't have enough room to build the new store that we wanted. The purpose for us, the main purpose for Quick Trip is to provide an opportunity for employees to grow and succeed. And Chester was our founder, and Chester had a lot of good quotes, but the one that I really like is he said, if you're not taking care of the customer, you better be taking care of the people that are. And that's the thing. We take care of our employees because we're a privately held company, and our employees we promote from within. I've been with Quick Trip 16 years. Mike's been here 17 years. We both started out overnights, mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, and hot dog grades. And that's a resounding story. It resonates through Quick Trip through and through because we do only promote from within. I did notice, my coworker pointed out to me, our core values are the same on your agenda. We have be the best, focus long term, never be satisfied, do the right thing, and do what's right for Quick Trip. 15 years on Fortune's list of 100 best companies to work for. We're perennially listed on the top privately held companies, currently at 29. We create about 20 new jobs per location. We never laid off an employee in the history of the company. Store managers, the jobs we create are good jobs. We start people off at about $45,000 a year. That's full-time. Store managers make about anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 in our stations, and then part-time start around $10, $11, and they get 10% increases for the first 3 years to get them to about $13.50. We also do tuition reimbursement, which is a huge benefit to our employees. We contribute about 5% of our profits to the United Way. We're heavily involved in the communities. Down here, we've tried to ingrain ourselves in with Kirby. We joined Keep Kirby Beautiful, so we do the park cleanups and Gibbs Sprawl Road cleanup. We'll go build. I've gone out and built whole playground sets at schools and those types of things. The major thing that I really wanted to point out here is Folds of Honor. And so Folds of Honor, if you're not familiar with that, that's one of our biggest charities. And so we have a NASCAR event that we sponsor, but we brand it with Folds of Honor 500 every year in Atlanta. And that actually provides scholarships to spouses and children of people who have fallen serving our country. Every Quick Trip is also a safe place. So you'll see the safe place signs popping up all around here now. We're bringing that to San Antonio. We actually, our hub that is at corporate, where we monitor all of our stores 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we actually run the Safe Place program. We handled over 452 calls over 11 states, and that was at endangered youth or endangered youth. So whenever you had inundated youth, they get to our store, we know how to train them, we get them in, our employees are trained, that we have a spot in the store we take them to, we can keep them there, keep them safe until help arrives. Quick Trip was voted best C-stores and restrooms, so we beat Buc-ee's last year, then they beat us this year, and we keep trading back and forth 1 and 2. But it's pretty impressive. They run a really good operation, a really clean operation. But as you can see, in all the states we do operate in, we are number 1. And like I mentioned, we did win number 1 in C-Store magazine last year. This is just a site perspective from the intersection, looking back at the site. Just shows you the landscaping that we're putting in, along with the internal and the right-in driveway that we were talking about. We did work to get that. That was actually a full access drive that exists today that we're going to rip out and make a right-in. So it will improve that area. This is just a 2D shot looking down, aerial. So the biggest thing, in my opinion, that we've done on this is what the Quick Trip looks like. So whenever we come into an area, we want to fit in. So we're not going to come in and try to strong arm and say, no, we're going to do what we want to do. We don't. First thing I do is I dig in, I do a study, and I look at all the codes and ordinances. So we're not asking for any variances tonight. And we came up with a Quick Trip. It's a Schertz Quick Trip, as it's referred to in corporate. That meets all requirements. It's got triple the glazing. We've taken out the mechanical screen that was fabric, and it's all brick and stone now. You've got angled entries. It's just got a ton of architecture. I could sit here and, in the interest of time, it's very beefed up compared to what we typically would build in San Antonio. We refer to it as our Hill Country store. Again, got the Buc-ee slide in there. So security, the biggest thing that we focus on with our employees is safety. So our store security system that we have, it's the top of the line. There's no one in the retail business that has anything close to what we do, and frankly, we put most banks to shame. We went back and retrofitted every single one of our stores, spent about $69 million to bring them up to the standards, to where each store has multiple alarm points, digital surveillance that's all monitored from our high-tech security operations center in Tulsa. This is who also manages Safe Place. But the employees wear badges. They've got a badge in and out of the check stand. Our stores are safe by design. Big windows, you can see into them from the street. It's very, very important to us. We do have a quote on here where Quick Trip's commitment to the safety of their employees and customers is not only well known by the community, but it's deeply appreciated by every deputy in Tulsa. And that was from Tulsa County Sheriff's Department, where we've been operating for 6 years. So this is a security plan that we do. We have a retired Army colonel that we've hired from 29 years, and basically he reviews all of our security plans for the entire company. And so he looks and makes sure that we have every angle covered inside and outside the store, because Quick Trip needs to be safe. You need a place to stop to use the restroom late at night, you're stopping at a Quick Trip. And that's why we keep our stores safe. So QTK, so what sets us apart, right? What sets us apart is our offering. So basically with a Quick Trip, you're not just getting a gas station. You get a restaurant, a pizza place, a sandwich shop, a taco stand, a Starbucks, donut shop, Smoothie King. It's all in one. So our kitchen, QTK is what we call it. We have a ton of food. We've got breakfast pizzas, regular pizzas. We smoke our own brisket for 12 to 14 hours. We put them in tacos and brisket sandwiches. Our bread is absolutely amazing. So we make these sandwiches fresh. We use the Amoroso rolls that Pat and Gino use in Philly. We actually use their rolls. Our Italian is phenomenal. I don't have any pictures of the salad. We do have a lot of healthy options, but they're just not as fun to look at. And our grilled cheese, we're actually having a dedicated oven just for grilled cheese because they're doing so well right now. So again, we make our own donuts in-house. Everything's done in-house. So everything is in our QTD facilities. The food's made by a Quick Trip employee, packaged, shipped, trucked by a Quick Trip employee, stocked, and sold. So everything we do from beginning to end, even our stores. When we build this store, and I challenge you to go look at any of our stores in Dallas or any of the stores we have here in the San Antonio area. When we build them to look like they do the day they open, and we maintain them that way. So we also have an internal FS department, facility support. Employee puts in a call, chip curb, broken cappuccino machine, pump goes down. They pop that call in, and then they've got a call system that corporate's monitoring, and that tech has a certain amount of time to close that call out. And your store manager's there 5 days a week. Supervisor goes to the store once a week, walks the entire site, kitchen and all, and goes through a complete checklist on an iPad with that manager. Then the district manager who runs the entire market goes to every store once a month to follow up on the supervisor. And that same thing, mark them off for dust on top of machines, open up, pop the machines, make sure they're clean. So it's everything we do is top notch, and we don't cut any corners whatsoever, whether it comes to construction operation. So we have a very strong presence on social media. This guy said my signature scent is Quick Trip Donuts, but we've got a lot of people on Instagram, Facebook. They follow us, and we try and put out as much as we can for new products and those types of things, and a lot of the community events that we do. I've got a quick video. This is 90 seconds.
Convenience stores, an integral part of the nation's economic backbone. So who is Quick Trip? We're different than most convenience stores. We're not just a building or gas pumps or products for sale. We are contributors. We're part of your schools, volunteer programs, and your community. Our goal is to connect and serve neighborhoods with our most valued asset, our employees. Bringing not only high-paying jobs and generating millions of tax dollars, but creating a sense of pride, respect, and family to every person that walks in our store. Impacting lives by providing a safe and secure environment to all. We believe being part of a community is more than just being a good neighbor. It's caring for each other and continuously helping places we call home. Leading by example, we celebrate communities in their victories and help them when they are in need. At our core, we are fathers, sons, mothers, and daughters. We are your community. Quick Trip, more than a gas station.
So with that, I just would like to say that we strive to be the best. We respectfully request that you allow us to bring the best to Schertz. We're meeting all city codes, ordinances. We're not asking for any kind of variances. And we just want you to know we're not trying to build just a Quick Trip. We're trying to build you a Schertz Quick Trip. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Questions?
Will you guys at least put a no entrance on that one area so people won't go out that area?
Yes, sir. It'll be
exits?
signed and arrows as well.
Okay. And you came and you did that presentation. I'm glad you did it. And you didn't bring sandwiches for any of us? And I know Mark is from the Pennsylvania area, so bringing that bread out of Geno's. He's from Philly.
I've been to Patch and Geno's.
Yeah, so that bread would have been really tasty.
It's a lovely place, and I grew up Newark, Delaware, and my family in South Philly, Kensington, so I used to go there all the time. So when we got the bread, I bit into it. I said, oh, I know this.
Thank you, guys. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Call for a motion, please.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 19S14, as long as there isn't any special verbiage that goes along with it.
A second.
I have a motion by Dr. Scagliola, a second by Mr. Edwards. Call for a vote.
Vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Welcome to Schertz Quick Trip.
Resolution number 19R43, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, authorizing the power of eminent domain for the acquisition of permanent pipeline easements and certain property rights necessary for the Woman Hollering Creek wastewater line improvement project for the construction, enlargement, and maintenance of pipelines and appenditures designed to carry wastewater, acquisition of temporary workspace easements, authorizing the city manager or the city manager's designee to execute all documents to institute eminent domain proceedings, and authorizing the city attorney to initiate condemnations proceedings. Go for it.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, Dr. Brown. So we're finally at that point in this project, the Woman Hollering Creek wastewater line project, which will take wastewater from the current location of the Sedona lift station and convey it down to the CCMA's South Treatment Plant that's currently under construction. We've been working with the property owners for several years now. We sent out initial offers in December of 2018 during, 2017. During 2018, we've met with them. We've had lots of communications, meetings, emails, phone calls, and we were also completing the final design for the project. We have been able to secure a number of the easements that we do need, but we still have a number that we haven't been able to secure. We're in various stages at the process with different property owners. Some we have already sent revised offers, received counter offers. Some we're ready to submit final offers to. When we do submit the final offers, we need to be able to say, there's a time frame on this. You've got 14 days. These are statutory deadlines that we're permitted to make. If you don't accept this offer within the 14 days, we will proceed with a petition for condemnation, which will then allow us to enter that eminent domain process. We've got Attorney Santee here if you have specific questions about that, but I think we've talked about it a little bit before. So instead of coming to you piece by piece with each one of these property owners, what we're asking for is authorization to make the final offers. There's one error in my memo to you. I apologize. We actually have $300,000 in the budget for the negotiations with these folks for the easements, not 150. It was 150 3 years ago. But we have $300,000 in the budget. If it's over that, then we, of course, will come back for authorization to use additional funds. So I'm sure you've got questions or not, but I don't want to.
I have a public hearing first.
Okay.
And then we'll ask questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Open and public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this? Since there's no takers, closing public hearing. Questions or concerns from council? Mr. Edwards.
So, Catherine, you said we've exhausted all measures for all the residents out there. We've asked repeatedly, negotiated as best as we could.
We have not exhausted all measures yet. We're in the final stages of the negotiations with folks.
So are we actually doing a preemptive here by having the eminent domain prepared just in case?
Yes. Yes. So that we can make final offers and indicate that we will file a petition for condemnation in the event that they don't accept the final offer.
And so we're documenting each time that we've actually spoke to the individuals, the residents of the area that are going to be affected by this, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't want this to come back to say, we preemptively did eminent domain. Okay.
Try this, Councilman.
Okay.
I think I understand your concern. Yeah, we're not preemptively coming to you. I think.
Mr. James, we can't hear you.
I apologize. As you know, we've been out at this for quite a while.
True.
We have had a lot of conversations with those property owners. We've met at their homes even. We've gone back and forth. We've worked up that final design. We went through a series of presentations at council while we tried to look at design adjustments. And at this point, at some point, we have to keep this thing from dragging on forever. Not just for those property owners we're still trying to acquire an easement from, but those property owners that have granted us the easement to date. They have an expectation that we'll get in there, do that construction, and then move on and let them get on with their lives with it. And so to be very clear, us coming to you is part of that process. It lets everyone know we are effectively at the end of it. Here's our final offer. If you choose not to accept it, that's certainly fine. We've let them know the route that we'll go, and so they have a full, complete understanding of it. If they choose to accept it, they choose to accept it, and we got that route. So to be clear, I wouldn't say this is a preemptive. This is part of the process, and this is really part of us informing them. This is where we are. This is where we're at. They understand that now with this action. And it also treats everyone the same way. We're dealing with everyone the same way fairly as opposed to piecemealing it, different deals with one or the other. And so, yeah, again, we have Again, lots of conversations, lots of meetings.
Okay, as long as we're documenting, what percentage would you say that have already agreed to this, the project? How many?
We have 5 out of the needed 21,
Okay.
and all the rest are listed in the resolution.
Okay.
But like I said, we're at different stages with each one of those.
Yeah,
But like-
documentation.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And so I think what you'll see with this action, when we send this final out, we have some people that we think are going to accept that offer, that we're real close and will come back and say, okay, yeah, that's fine, here you go. We won't have everybody, and this lets us move forward in a thoughtful manner.
In your professional opinion, from the engineering standpoint, this project, if this project does not go through, will it affect the infrastructure and the build out down on Southern Schertz for all the rest of the properties out there in any way?
It certainly will. Let me remind you of this. You are paying to build a sewer treatment plant down in Southern Schertz.
Need a pipe.
There is no line to get sewer to it until you build this. So yes, not only does it impact other property owners, it impacts this big investment our entire community has made. A sewer plant with no sewer.
That's what I need to hear. Thank you, Mr. James.
Dr. Scagliola?
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of condemnation, and it doesn't seem to me that all the avenues have been exhausted yet. To piggyback on what Councilmember Edwards was saying, this seems to me to be a preemptive strike, legalized arm twisting. It's a last resort. It's either this or else. Yeah, I'm not a real big fan of that concept. I wish we had actually gotten more agreements, and then before the sledgehammer comes down, we actually find out what we're dealing with, instead of sending it the message that, hey, it's our way or the highway. And that's my only comment. I don't even know if you need to respond to that, but those are my sentiments.
Mr. Brown?
I also agree that eminent domain is one of those last resort things. However, over the last few years, a lot of progress has been made by the legislature to ensure that eminent domain is only used for those last minute or those last chance items. Again, this is to support 4,000, 5,000 potential homes down there, and you have somebody that's trying to hold out for a couple hundred feet of easement. I respect their private property rights immensely, and again, the state legislature has made the process very difficult for a municipality to even get to this part because of the processes there. Equality is there, and as they're saying, we're trying to make it as efficient as possible for the city to move forward at this point. So we're asking for 17 approvals at this point. Not that they're going to use maybe none. Hopefully none is the right goal, but at the same time, it is there and it's all part of the process. So I really support what you guys are doing. I know the difficulties that you're going through.
Mr. Gutierrez?
I too respect property rights. Are we providing them a fair market value for their property? Would you say that's?
Yes, sir. And if they choose not to accept it, part of this process of using an eminent domain is to have that third party there to say this is fair market value to it. So if they take issue with that, going down this path is in fact what gets another party involved to make that call.
Now, if we do use the power of eminent domain, is it based on the final offer that we provided?
I believe it's based on an appraisal that we'll have updated at the time of filing.
Okay. And I'm sure we took all precautions to try to limit from cutting into the property where we really subdivided in the obstruct way where they can't use it.
We did do quite a lot of research and additional surveying to minimize any disruption to parcels. We do need to generally follow the topography of the land, but we are accommodating going along property lines wherever possible, and locating the line where it will disrupt the least amount of activity.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else on council? Call for a motion, and it has to, you have one.
So I want to make sure I got this right. Mr. Brown, you brought up 5,000 homes out in that area. So I want to do the numbers correctly here. We got 21 people that 21 residents that we're trying to get to give us access, right? Or trying to let us put the easement in. 5 have agreed. So that's 16 people divided by 5,000. You're looking at roughly 0.32% of the population of that area is holding. We put a $65 million plan out there. How much is the CCMA plan?
I thought it was 30. 10.
Yeah, so regardless, but here, and we've already committed to that. We've already committed to that, and we have no way of transporting the waste. Okay, I want to make sure that's stated for the record for everyone. It's not popular, but it's important work.
Again, not popular, but something that has to happen, and we all appreciate people's private property rights. So with that said, we need a motion, and it has to be the specific motion that has been given to you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that the City of Schertz City Council authorize the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire up to 17 parcel units of easement property located along the route from Sedona Lift Station at 8217 FM 1518 North, continuing south generally along Woman Hollering Creek to IH10, then continuing east to Trader Hale Road to the CCMA South Treatment Facility at 7424 Trainer Hale Road in Schertz, Texas. As more fully described in Exhibits A through Q-1 of Resolution 19R43 for the public purpose of construction, enlarging, and maintaining the Schertz Woman Hollering Creek wastewater line project to address the ongoing wastewater needs of the city, and in order to transfer the wastewater to a treatment facility, and the first record vote applies to all 17 units of the easement property to be condemned or subject to condemnation.
Second.
Call for the vote on Resolution 19R43.
Aye.
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 Nay. Aye.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
So, Mr. Santee, does it still pass, or do we have to all vote?
You had one nay,
Nay,
and
okay.
everyone else voted in favor, so yes, it passes.
Thank you. Roll call confirmation vote. Gail?
Consent items 1 through 4. Councilmember Edwards made the motion. Councilmember Gutierrez seconded. Mayor Pro Tem Hayward voted yes. Councilmembers Davis, Gutierrez, Larson, Edwards, Scagliola, and Brown voted yes. Motion passed. Item number 5, ordinance number 19S14, first reading. Councilmember Scagliola made the motion. Councilmember Edwards made the second. Mayor Pro Tem Hayward voted yes. Council members Davis, Gutierrez, Larson, Edwards, Scagliola, and Brown voted yes. Motion passed. Item number 6, Resolution 19R43. Council member Gutierrez made the motion. Council member Edwards seconded. Mayor Pro Tem Hayward voted yes. Council members Davis, Gutierrez, Larson, Edwards, and Brown voted yes. Council member Scagliola voted no. Motion passed.
Thank you. Any announcements, Dr. Brown?
I have nothing further. Thank you.
requests by city council members of anything that needs to go on the agenda? Any events that city council made? Mr. Davis?
Just thanks to all the staff that put together the memorial tribute to Miss Babinaw earlier today. I thought it was a good opportunity for all the employees to get out there and try to deal with the sudden loss of one of their own. And then kudos to all the staff that figured out how to pull off moving on Main. When I woke up Sunday morning, I thought for sure that it would not be occurring with the storms that were coming to the area. But somehow you all managed to pull it off, and it looked like everyone had a good time. So, again, kudos to all the staff that made that happen.
Mr. Gutierrez?
Yeah, once again, kudos to all the staff. Yeah, moving on Main, it was a great success. We did have the rain delay, but the staff pulled it out. I mean, they lost 2 hours just because of the rain, but Dr. Brown, the staff was just awesome. And also I attended Linda Bavinall's ceremony for, it was very touching. Thank you.
Mr. Larson? Mr. Edwards?
I want to say, guys, I went to Mr. Marquez's funeral. Mark was our previous city manager, and I can certainly tell you it was like looking at a family reunion, seeing faces from 10, 12 years ago, that were there. It was amazing. So just want to say, the family really appreciated it. I spoke with Nick at length, and he really did appreciate our support in that. So, again, thank you all for being there. Last thing, you might want to look up, anyone that's interested, house.texas.gov/video-audio, and then you'll click on the 86th Texas legislation, because the HB2 will be presented tomorrow. And you want to check that out, guys. The arguments are going to be there. You might want to see it. That's going to be the caps that they're talking about, the revenue caps. So I just thought I'd tell you about that. There was a program that I saw when I was up in Baltimore recently called Vacant to Value. And it was a program that I thought was extremely interesting, where they take old homes and they help refurbish them, kind of like what they're doing now with the what they're doing with the Love Where You Live. I just thought that was kind of interesting, but they were actually using some stipends for that. So good program to take advantage of. So thank you all.
Dr. Scagliola?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday, my wife and I went up to Kerrville to participate in a work day for the Lions Club camp. We completed 2 of our projects, and I learned that the mayor of Garden Ridge is a fellow Lion. This year, the Lions will sponsor over 1,500 kids to go to that camp up there. Sunday, walking on Main, wonderful time. And I said I'd give a couple of shout-outs for some of the groups that were there, specifically Charlotte's Regal, Operation Battle Buddies, Homes for Pets, and our Animal Services, Parks Department, Police, and EMS. Thank you so very much for making a safe event. I think I'm changing my views. I was a little skeptical initially about the Main Street project altogether, but walking up and down the street, I see a lot of enthusiasm, and I hope the walks continue. Perhaps we can schedule something for around the Christmas holiday time. And that's all I have, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Oh, ye of little faith on Sunday. Turned out to be a beautiful day again. Again, the staff did a great job, phenomenal. And every time we go down there, we see the improvements on Main Street, and we got to get the residents down there to stay involved and whatnot. They're the ones that are going to make the big difference. So keep it up.
Yeah, Mr. Edwards.
And that legislative update is actually Thursday, so just letting you know.
Thank you. I attended a chamber event called Bella on the Vine. It was in Converse. It was a nice event place. The inside of it was, you could do a wedding there. It was really nice. I did go to Moving on Main Street. I woke up early enough, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, it's raining. But they said rain or shine, so I'll be out there. It turned out to be a very nice day. And then the memorial for Linda Babineau, I attended that, and it was a very moving event to see how many lives that she touched. Thank you. Oh, yes, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I just wanted to personally thank Brian James and his team for the Moving on Main event, and for Lauren Schrum, our parks director, for doing a fantastic job, and also for all the staff that was there, the police department, EMS, and fire. Just really appreciate their professionalism and the volunteer spirit that they had, and it was just great to see all the staff out there. I really appreciate it. And also, I just want to recognize Linda Klepper for organizing the service this afternoon, and her and her team did a fantastic job. So, as usual, I just appreciate all the things that the staff is doing to make sure it's a great city.
With that said, we do have a great city. Love it to death. And meeting is adjourned.